In today's video, we're going to talk about table manners and I'm going to show you 10 things you should never do at a dinner. In this video, I'm going to share the top 10 mistakes I see people make during dinner. Common mistakes that you might be making, which can happen during dinner at someone's house. When you're a guest or the host, you might make some of these mistakes. Or when you go out to dinner with someone at a restaurant, for example. So let's go. The first mistake is not waiting for everyone to serve themselves before you start eating. That's right. Ideally, when you're sharing a meal with someone else, you should wait for everyone to be ready so you can enjoy that moment together. The most important thing about being at the table is sharing, exchanging experiences with other people. So there's no point in one person eating, then someone else eating, and then another person getting to share that moment. That doesn't make any sense at all. Ideally, you should wait for everyone to be served before you start enjoying your meal. Of course, there may be some more specific situations, like when you have a very large table, sometimes at a restaurant or even at a party, at a wedding. And then it's hard to have 100% of the people served before you start eating. Okay, you got your plate way before and the person at the other end of the table got theirs minutes and minutes later and then your food was cold. It wouldn't be a nice experience for you. In these cases, when we have very large tables with many people, the ideal is to wait for most people to be served before you start eating. Depending on the situation at the table, about 60% to 70% of the people at the table should already be served before you start enjoying your food. So it's important for you to use good judgment and be considerate while most of the table is already served. Okay, I can start eating. Oh, not yet. Only 3 or 4 people have been served at a table of 15 or 20 people. So that's a very small number. It's best for you to wait. It can also happen that during the process of the waiter serving the dishes, especially in restaurants, when there's a very large table, this happens a lot. Yes, the waiter ends up getting confused, the kitchen gets confused, and the dishes end up coming out all out of order or even wrong. And then some people get their dishes, others end up not getting theirs, and it all turns into a mess. If you're sharing a table with someone and you had a problem with your dish and the other person didn't, one recommendation I have for you is to talk to the person. Look, feel free to eat. Go ahead and start enjoying your food because otherwise you won't be able to enjoy it the right way. So it's also important for you to notice when you're sharing a table with more people. If you're in a delicate or private situation and the other people are there just waiting for you, make the others feel comfortable to start the meal as well. A crucial mistake I see people make at the table is criticizing the food. How many people, even when they're at a restaurant or at someone's house, have the habit of, as soon as they start eating, pointing things out, sometimes even gossiping? Wow, I didn't really like this meat. Wow, this fish is too salty. And this can make the hostess feel completely uncomfortable. First, because gossip and comments are not appropriate, it's totally inelegant. Second, it will leave the person with that feeling that she didn't do her best, that she didn't provide the best for her guests. I know it might seem like the restaurant is a safer environment. To make this kind of comment, that the food wasn't to your liking, that it wasn't served the way you wanted, that it wasn't how you'd have liked it. But we need to consider a few points. Many times, even though you are paying the bill, that might have been a restaurant recommended by someone else who is sharing the table with you. And she might feel really bad if you didn't like it, you know? For example, wow, I recommended a restaurant and people didn't like the food, so that's very unpleasant. Also, someone else might be paying the bill and then you keep complaining. That's not elegant at all, because that person is kindly inviting you to share that moment. And you're there pointing out and criticizing the food that was served. So it's a good idea that if you don't want to give a compliment, at least don't criticize. That old saying, if you have nothing to say, Just don't say anything. Now, talking about the serving process. Ideally, you should never put too much food on your plate. So avoid putting a large amount of food on your plate when you serve yourself, especially when we're presented with a buffet. This is very common in restaurants or even at someone's house when the food is presented on a sideboard. And you need to go to this sideboard to serve yourself, so be careful not to put too much food on your plate. One thing I always recommend to my students is to keep the food in the center of the plate. I grabbed a dinner plate here to show you. So see this little rim that the dinner plate has? There's always the central part of the plate, so keep the food in that area and avoid putting food on the edges. When the plate doesn't have such a defined rim like this one, try to always keep the food in the center. Don't overfill the plate. It's not wrong to go back for seconds. If you like the food, you can definitely enjoy more of it. But it's not a good idea to overfill your plate. And speaking of filling up, there's a mistake I see a lot. It's very common. It might seem basic. But whenever you find yourself sharing a table with a lot of people, you can be sure of this, that at least one person will make this mistake, which is putting too much food in their mouth. Sometimes people are really hungry or have the habit of eating very quickly, and they end up putting too much food, especially on the fork. Then they put it in their mouth and their mouth gets really full. And that's totally inelegant. There's no need for you to put too much food on your fork or spoon or fill your mouth too much. That makes you eat your food faster, and it looks like you're a bit desperate. Not to mention that every time we make movements that are too exaggerated at the table, it draws attention to us. So it's important for us to pay attention and try to be a little more gentle and delicate in these situations. Another big mistake people make is touching up their makeup. Avoid touching up your makeup when you're at a table with other people or even when you're alone. That's not ideal to do at all. Many people have the habit of touching up their makeup at the end of a meal because sometimes they want to touch up their lipstick. Touching up your makeup because, of course, after you've had a meal, your lipstick probably isn't there anymore unless it's a long-lasting lipstick. So in those cases, the best thing to do is go to the restroom to touch up your makeup. And this also applies to brushing your hair or taking any kind of medication. Ideally, these things shouldn't be done at the table. And if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to like this video and follow me on social media. I have Etiquette Protocolo on Instagram where I put up question stickers every day. So if you have any questions or want to chat a bit more, head over to Instagram. I would love to have you there. Continuing with our list of mistakes. An important mistake. Very basic and very common. It's when someone invades another person's space while serving themselves. For example, we have a serving dish here in the center of the table, and I get up to serve myself. It's right here next to me, and this happens in a way that's extremely unpleasant for the other person and for me because I have to stay there. Getting in front of another person, it's uncomfortable for me and it's uncomfortable for the other person too, for sure. So whenever you need a serving dish, especially when the food is being served, is presented in the center of the table, it's a good idea to ask people to pass you that serving dish. So you ask the person there, please, could you pass me the salad bowl? And then when the bowl gets to you, you go ahead and serve yourself. I know that sometimes the serving dishes can be extremely heavy and very large as well. That's really bad. Here's a tip for the hostesses. If you want to serve the food in the center of the table, ideally the serving dishes should be light so your guests can handle them easily. Are able to pass those serving dishes. But if that's not possible, you can ask the hostess or someone nearby to serve you from that dish. It's not the most recommended, but it's an option you can use to get out of that situation. Another big mistake that people also make at the table is eating and drinking at the same time. It's eating and drinking at the same time. It's a very serious mistake at the table. The ideal thing is for you to either eat or drink. That's right. So, for example, you're there savoring the food. Then, for example, you want to have some wine or drink some water. Ideally, right? Né? Actually swallow the food first. Then you use your napkin to wipe your mouth and then you drink your water or your wine. Each step. Each thing should be done in a certain way. So it's important that you don't mix things up too much there in that sense, okay? Either you drink or you eat. Another big mistake people make is actually blowing on the food. It's not recommended. You shouldn't blow on your food if you're going to eat there. And you notice that the food is hot. Ideally, you should wait a little. And here's a tip. Start eating. Taste the food from the edge. So start there from the sides, from the edges until you reach the center. This will help you a lot because it's not elegant to have to blow on your food. But you might ask me, mas é educado servir uma comida extremely hot? No, it's not. Ideally, the host should wait a little if the food is too hot or even let the guests know. And the same applies to a restaurant. Many restaurants, when they serve, they mention, look, be careful, the food is very hot. Look, be careful, the plate is very hot. That's exactly to warn their customers in advance. Another big mistake people make. At the table, it's so common for people to have bad posture. What happens is many people believe that the correct way to sit is to put your back against the backrest of the chair. But at the table, this is not the best way. Because notice how my posture changes when I'm sitting against the backrest of the chair. And now, when I leave a slight gap, it could be about the distance of a golf ball between the backrest of the chair and my back. This really helps to maintain good posture. So be very careful with the way you sit when you're eating there, when you're at the table. It's important for you to pay attention to this. Also, observe this. How are you going to position your feet? Ideally, your feet should be placed parallel to each other, both flat on the floor. You can also cross your feet in a more relaxed way. Crossing your legs or even crossing your legs on top of the chair will give you a completely inelegant posture. When we talk about elegance here on the channel, sometimes you might have found us through this video. It's not just about being considered a more elegant or refined person. Here, we approach elegance as a way to project a better image for yourself. An image that will make people see you differently and give you a better personal image. People will interpret you in a positive way as more self-confident and secure. That's the projection of elegance that we work on here on the channel. And that I also bring to my private training programs through the Instituto de Etiquette e Protocolo, of which I am a co-founder and also a teacher. We have etiquette and good manners training, which is a complete course where you will learn about good posture and nonverbal communication. To have self-confidence through building your personal image and how you can make people see you as having much more presence, self-assurance, and confidence. This training has already been taken by thousands of people, and it even includes a complete module on table etiquette. It will clarify several points that I mentioned in this lesson. If you are not our student yet and haven't taken this training, you can join and receive a special first purchase discount using the coupon code YouTube. Just type YouTube at the coupon section, you enter the word YouTube, and you'll immediately receive an exclusive discount that will be applied automatically right there. Come join the students at IAP and definitely boost your image. Another mistake people make at the table and often don't even notice is actually leaving the table without everyone having finished their meal. Many times, even the host starts serving dessert before everyone has finished eating. This also happens in restaurants. When the waiter starts clearing the plates before everyone has finished, that's not polite. Leaving the table before everyone has finished the meal I know there are people who eat faster and people who eat more slowly. And it's important for you to notice that. Every time you're at the table with someone, you're the first one to finish or the last one to finish. Ideally, you should be somewhere in the middle, not eating too slowly either. And not too fast either. So it's good for you to pay attention to that, to keep up with the other people during the meal. And if you want to know more about table manners, if you want to master some basic rules, I've already made a video here on the channel. I'm sure it will help you a lot. Click here on the side so you can watch it next. I'll be waiting for you. Take care and see you later.